Do you realize that teen suicide rates have been on the rise in certain demographics? Let's take a moment to consider some sobering facts. Every year, more and more teenagers are falling victim to the immense pressure and pain they experience, leading them down the dark path of self-harm and, tragically, suicide. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, suicide is now the second leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 10 and 19. Imagine for a moment a stadium filled with 100,000 people. Now consider this. In a single year, the number of teenagers who contemplate suicide could fill that stadium more than 20 times over. That's over 2 million individuals who feel so overwhelmed by their circumstances that they consider ending their lives. But the numbers don't stop there. Among these, nearly 700,000 teenagers attempt suicide each year. That's equivalent to the entire population of a city like Boston. And sadly, many of these attempts are successful. In 1 year alone, we lose more than 5,000 young lives to suicide. That's the equivalent of losing a teenager every 100 minutes. And the tragedy doesn't end there. For every teen that dies by suicide, there are countless others who engage in self-harm, a dangerous coping mechanism that brings physical pain to match their emotional turmoil. What's even more alarming is that these numbers have been steadily increasing over the years. In the past decade, the suicide rate among teenagers has increased by over 50%. Certain demographics, such as LGBTQ+ youth, are particularly vulnerable, with suicide rates nearly 3 times higher than their heterosexual peers. The numbers paint a grim picture, don't they? And while the statistics are indeed staggering, they are more than just numbers. They represent real individuals, with real struggles and real lives cut tragically short. Disturbing, isn't it? Let's delve deeper to understand the reasons behind these statistics. Ever wondered what could be the underlying factors leading to such high rates of teen suicides? Let's delve into that. Our world today is complex, and this complexity often negatively impacts our teens. One such impact is the rise of cyberbullying. Imagine a world where bullies no longer lurk in school hallways, but instead hide behind screens, making hurtful comments on social media platforms. This new form of bullying can make it feel like there's no escape for the victims, increasing their feelings of helplessness and despair. On top of that, the academic pressure on today's youth is intense. The expectations to achieve top grades, get into the best colleges, and secure a successful future can be overwhelming. It's like a pressure cooker, and some teens unfortunately struggle to handle this stress. Then we have the invisible and often overlooked enemy, mental health issues. Depression, anxiety, and other mental health conditions are significant factors that contribute to the high rates of teen suicide and self-harm. These conditions can make teens feel isolated, misunderstood, and hopeless, often leading to tragic consequences. In addition to these factors, lack of support is another major concern. Many teens feel they don't have anyone they can turn to when they're feeling low. This lack of support can amplify feelings of loneliness and despair, making the world seem like a very dark place. Lastly, let's not forget the role of social media. While it has its benefits, social media often portrays a filtered view of life, leading to unrealistic expectations. Teens may compare themselves to these false portrayals and feel inadequate when their lives don't match up. This constant comparison can lead to low self-esteem and feelings of worthlessness, which can often trigger thoughts of suicide. So it's clear that a multitude of factors contributes to this alarming issue. It's a tangled web of complexity, and it's our responsibility to untangle it and provide the necessary support to our teens. Are you aware of the warning signs that might indicate a teenager is contemplating suicide? Let's dive right into this crucial topic. The warning signs of teen suicide can often be subtle, yet they are significant indicators that something may be seriously wrong. Understanding these signs can help us intervene before it's too late. One of the most apparent signs is a drastic change in behavior. This could be anything from a sudden drop in academic performance, changes in eating and sleeping habits, to engaging in risky behaviors. A once diligent student might start skipping school, or a teen who loved being active could become lethargic and uninterested. Then, there's social withdrawal. If a teenager starts pulling away from friends, family, and activities they once enjoyed, it could be a red flag. They may seem isolated, preferring to spend time alone, or they might avoid interaction with others. Communication can also be a revealing factor. A teen might talk or write about death more often than is typical, or they may express feelings of hopelessness. Some might say things like, "I wish I were dead," or "I can't see any way out." These statements should always be taken seriously. Another alarming sign is if they begin giving away their belongings, especially those they once held dear. This is often because they are putting affairs in order, a step toward saying goodbye. Lastly, an increase in substance abuse or self-harming behaviors can also be a sign. If a teen starts consuming alcohol or drugs more frequently or begins to self-harm, it's a cry for help that requires immediate attention. In essence, the key is to stay alert and connected. These signs often manifest as a call for help, a plea for understanding, or a desperate attempt to communicate their distress. It's crucial to remain vigilant and respond with compassion and understanding. Remember, these warning signs are not definitive proof that someone is considering suicide, but they do indicate that the individual is in distress and needs help. Recognizing these signs could potentially save a life. Wondering what can we do to prevent teen suicides and self-harm? It's a question that weighs heavily on our minds, but the answer lies in proactivity and understanding. One of the most effective strategies is education. It's crucial that we educate not only our teenagers but also adults about the risks and realities of self-harm and suicide. Knowledge is power, and in this case, it can be a lifesaver. We should strive to debunk myths, dispel stigmas, and share accurate information about mental health. Another key strategy is promoting open dialogue about mental health. We need to create a culture where it's okay to talk about mental health, where it's okay to say, "I'm not okay." Encouraging our teens to express their feelings, fears, and concerns without judgment can be a game changer. But talking isn't enough. We need to listen, really listen. Listen to their words, but also to their silence. We need to be there for them, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally too. Access to professional help is also vital. Therapists, counselors, psychiatrists, they all play pivotal roles in prevention and intervention. Professional help can provide our teens with coping mechanisms, therapeutic techniques, and medication if necessary. It's important that we let our teens know that seeking help is not a sign of weakness, but a mark of strength. Lastly, fostering supportive environments is key. A supportive environment is one where teens feel safe, loved, and understood. It's an environment where mental health is treated as importantly as physical health, where asking for help is encouraged, and where every teen knows that they're not alone. Each of these strategies, education, open dialogue, professional help, and supportive environments, are pieces of a larger puzzle. When combined, they create a comprehensive approach to preventing teen suicides and self-harm. Prevention is always better than cure, especially when it comes to such a sensitive matter. It's our responsibility to ensure that our teens don't just survive, but thrive. Together we can make a difference. Together we can save lives. What can you do to help in this situation? This is a question we all must ask ourselves. The answer is simple, yet profound. Spread awareness. We can play a crucial role in exposing the harsh realities of teen suicide and self-harm. The first step is to acknowledge that these issues are real and they are happening. It's about educating ourselves and others about the severity of the problem and the devastating impact it has on our communities. It's also crucial to challenge the stigma around mental health. Too often, mental health is a topic that's swept under the rug, treated as taboo. But silence only allows the problem to fester. Imagine if we treated mental health the same way we treat physical health. We wouldn't hesitate to seek help for a broken bone, so why should we hesitate when our minds are in pain? Let's start the conversation. Let's make it okay to talk about mental health and emotional well-being. Let's make it okay to admit when we're struggling and to ask for help. Remember, it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help, but rather, it's a sign of strength. And if you or someone you know is grappling with these issues, don't be afraid to reach out. There are numerous resources available, professionals who are trained to help. You are not alone in this fight. There is always someone who is willing to lend an ear, to offer a shoulder to lean on. Don't ever hesitate to reach out to them. By spreading awareness, we can encourage understanding and empathy. By talking about it, we can break down the walls of stigma. And by reaching out, we can save lives. We all have a part to play in this. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. Your voice can make a difference. Let's work together to bring these numbers down. Because every life is precious and every life is worth fighting for. Together we can make a difference. Together we can change the narrative. Together we can save lives.